Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah, and a very good day to everyone. I'm Dr. Fariza. So I'll be talking about augmented reality in education with you in this mini lecture. But before that, mungkin ada tak yang pernah mendengar tentang AR? Yeah? How many of you have heard about AR? Or maybe some of you have, some experiences using or operating the AR materials. Or maybe mungkin ada juga yang ada pengalaman untuk membangunkan sendiri bahan berasaskan augmented reality. But for those yang tak ada pengalaman, for those who have never heard about AR or who have never had any experience on how to create AR, so no worries, because in this mini lecture I'll be talking about AR and then the benefits and as well as how can we plan and develop AR material. Before that, let's look at what is actually the augmented reality. What is meant by augmented reality? Yeah. So kalau kita lihat kepada artikel ataupun penulisan secara empirical, you will see that there are numbers of definitions or different definitions of AR. But basically, if you look at the definition, dia tidak larilah daripada beberapa ciri ini. For example, if you look at this one, it is said that AR is actually the human-computer interaction, which means dalam kata mudahnya, AR ini melibatkan interaksi antara manusia, human as users, dan juga komputer. So when we talk about computer, it doesn't mean that it has to be a desktop ataupun komputer ataupun laptop. But of course, our tablets, our smartphones is actually kinds of computer as well. So di dalam AR, of course, dia melibatkan interaksi, di mana melalui interaksi tersebut apa yang berlaku ialah kita menambahkan which adds virtual objects to real senses. So that means di dalam penggunaan bahan augmented reality, it actually involves the mixture between the reality and as well as the virtual component. Okay, so let's look at the second definition, which is I think more clear or clearer for us to understand. Dia katakan bahawa AR adalah satu teknologi, satu teknologi that allows computer-generated virtual imagery to exactly overlay physical objects in real time. So, which means that in AR, dia merupakan satu teknologi yang membolehkan komputer ataupun mesin yang kita gunakan untuk generate virtual imagery ke atas satu objek berbentuk fizikal, sesuatu yang berbentuk fizikal. Okay, let's look at some of the examples of how AR works. Okay, this is one of the examples. If you look at this photo, in the background, the real background, there is no sofa, isn't it? But if you look at through the monitor ataupun through you punya smartphone di sini, you will see there is a blue sofa located on the floor. So this is how we kita namakan ini sebagai augmented reality, di mana menggunakan peralatan yang kita gunakan ini, misalnya dalam konteks ini kita menggunakan smartphone. Teknologi AR akan overlay, akan menindankan, dia akan tindihkan satu virtual object yang berbentuk virtual ke atas situasi yang berbentuk reality. Dalam konteks ini pada lantai ni lah, so kita nampak seolah-olah kerusi itu wujud berada pada lantai, di atas lantai. And the other example, I think most of you tentu ada pengalaman kan menggunakan game ataupun bermain game Pokemon ni. Okay, so sekali lagi, if you look at the actual background, you will see there's a man using or wearing a purple shirt here. Dan ini this is the same person, but in reality you don't have any Pokemon running in front of this man, but through your smartphone you will see there's a Pokemon there. So if you look at the Pokemon, it is as if exists in the real world. Itulah yang kita katakan tadi, di mana augmented reality adalah satu teknologi yang mana dia menggabungkan it combines the elements of the virtual elements as well as the actual or reality environment. So in this case, the virtual object is actually a Pokemon kat sini, and then the reality is actually what we have surrounding us in a real life. Okay, so to use augmented reality or to generate any images or perhaps videos to be overlaid ataupun ditindihkan on the reality, you will have to use as simple as your tablet, right? So you can also use your own smartphone. Ya, kalau tengok dalam gambar ni, seolah-olah ada satu motorbike kan di atas kad tersebut. You can also use AR glasses, which is more complex or more sophisticated. And you also can use AR gloves when you use AR materials. Right. So, of course, class, we need also to know what are the benefits of AR. Apa dia kebaikan ataupun kelebihan apabila kita menggunakan bahan augmented reality ni, right? So, saya bawakan bukti-bukti empirikal yang dibawa daripada kajian-kajian yang telah dijalankan sebelum inilah tentang apa dia sebenarnya benefits yang boleh kita dapati apabila kita menggunakan bahan AR. For example, if you are a teacher, since you juga akan menjadi guru kan, you are educated to be, you are teacher to be, so it is important for you to at least get information as well as knowledge on how to use the more sophisticated technology in your teaching and learning, so as to make sure that your teaching and learning to be more convincing, more interesting to your students. Right. So, okay, kalau kita lihat di sini, Wei 2015, through their research, they found that the use of AR can actually help students to learn at their own pace. What does this mean? Ya, kalau kita perhatikan, kalau kita lihat di dalam kelas, maybe you can, try to recall your experience being in classroom. You have lots of friends, you have many students in the class, and then some of the student or some of your friends might be, kata excellent student. Maksudnya dia cepat, dia fast students. Cikgu ajar sekali, dia dah boleh dapat. But we also have another group of students who might be, classified under medium ataupun moderate pace of students, pelajar sederhana. And at the other end, we also have slow students, yang mana mereka ni bukan tidak pandai, tetapi pelajar ini dia memerlukan kepada orang kata repetition of things, So as a teacher, you cannot always repeat the same thing when you teach your students, right? We don't have time for that, and repeating the same thing to all the students might make other students who are faster becoming bored. So of course, penggunaan AR ini boleh kita gunakan untuk membantu pelajar belajar secara self-directed ataupun kendiri. Ya, apabila kita beri bahan AR kepada pelajar ataupun pengguna, mereka boleh gunakan sebanyak mungkin, yang sekerap mungkin, sehinggalah at the end of the session they will be able to construct their own understanding on the topic that has been delivered di dalam bahan-bahan AR yang kita bangunkan. So that is one of the benefits of why we want to use AR in our teaching and learning. Okay, the next one is Huan and Liu di dalam kajian mereka mengutarakan bahawa penggunaan AR juga sebenarnya dapat meningkatkan motivasi pelajar. Alright, enhance learners' motivation. So as we know that one of the keys on students, student success is actually having a high motivation to keep going, right? So kalau pelajar kita demotivated, pelajar kita tidak ada motivasi untuk belajar, it is difficult for us to to make sure that they will be able to enjoy learning, and then they will be able to absorb all the contents ataupun information dan juga skills yang kita cuba berikan kepada mereka. So of course, if you try using AR, you can actually help students to motivate them in the way that when students use AR, you will see how much fun is it for the students. They will enjoy it, and then they will be that experience can be one of the most memorable experience for the students, right? Okay. And also, another researchers like Kaufman and et al. Says that the use of AR in teaching and learning can also enhance learner satisfaction. Right, satisfaction is actually one of the aspects yang mungkin very subjective and sometimes very hard to achieve by educators, because we cannot measure students' satisfaction by just giving them some task and then do some assessments and all that. But if you can actually mempelbagaikan bahan-bahan pembelajaran, in this case if you can blend your teaching learning materials with AR materials, I think that will be more meaningful for the students. They will find it to be something which is satisfactory or satisfactory for them. So of course bila kita menggunakan AR ini, kita akan membantulah student kita untuk merasa lebih berpuas hati dengan aktiviti yang mereka jalankan. Okay, so kita lihat benefits yang seterusnya. Dikatakan juga berdasarkan pada kajian-kajian lepas, dikatakan penggunaan AR sebenarnya dapat membantu untuk develop students long term memory retention. So sometimes kita ni we tend to forget things, right? You heard it today but you tend to forget it tomorrow. Esok kita dah lupa. So di dalam penggunaan bahan AR juga kita boleh membantu pelajar kita. We can help our students to enhance their long-term memory by providing them with AR materials. For example, since in AR materials, students can bring it home. They can scan it whenever they want. They can repeat it as many as they want. So in that sense, we can actually help them to get more capacity to memorize all the things that they should memorize. And then in the long term kita berharap supaya proses ataupun pembelajaran ini akan dapat membantu pelajar lah untuk meningkatkan mereka punya long term memory, right? Okay, sikit lagi. AR juga dikatakan berdasarkan kajian-kajian pengkaji lepas ni, kalau kita lihat kat sini ada beberapa nama di sini yang mana mereka mengatakan bahawa penggunaan AR juga boleh promote more contextual learning. Contextual learning maksudnya kita mengkontekstualiskan pengajaran kita itu ke dalam satu konteks yang mungkin secara dasarnya tidak wujud di dalam circumstance ataupun di dalam situation seharian pelajar-pelajar kita. For example, if you want to talk about macam mana berlakunya volcano eruption, for example, ataupun macam mana polar bear to survive di dalam suasana yang sangat sejuk di kutub kan. And then of course we cannot bring students to the Antarctic. Kita tak boleh bawa ke kawasan bear tersebut because konteks keadaan ataupun geografi kita di Malaysia ini of course jauh daripada kutub, and then kita tak ada salji pun, right? So if we want to bring some contextual situation kepada pelajar-pelajar kita, juga boleh gunakan bahan AR ini dengan membawalah video-video yang menunjukkan satu konteks yang berbeza, agar bila pelajar melihat ataupun menonton bahan-bahan tersebut menggunakan aplikasi AR, mereka akan dapat contextualize keadaan tersebut lah dengan lebih bermakna. Okay, so in terms of collaboration, memang juga dikatakan ataupun dibuktikan secara empirical, secara research, bahawa penggunaan AR ini juga dapat membantu pelajar untuk meningkatkan collaboration mereka. And of course, when as a educator to be, I think you are quite familiar with PAK21, isn't it? Pengajaran abad ke-21. So of course, one of the elements or one of the domains di dalam PAK21 is actually about collaborative skills lah. So, kita macam mana kita nak meningkatkan kemahiran berkolaborasi dengan pelajar kita? Macam mana kita nak meningkatkan kemahiran supaya pelajar-pelajar kita ini tidak lagi selesa untuk bekerja sendiri? Because we tend to have lots of students who are more interested to, develop things on their own. And they don't want to work with others. Yeah? Mereka lebih selesa berada di dalam dunia mereka sendiri. So this is actually one of the dilemmas yang kita hadapi apabila kita berhadapan dengan generasi Z yang banyak membesar dengan gadgets dan sebagainya. Jadi menyebabkan hasilnya bila mereka ke sekolah, pelajar-pelajar ini tidak dapat untuk kata menunjukkan skills mereka untuk berkolaborasi dengan rakan-rakan mereka. So one of the ways on how we can promote students collaboration is actually using bahan-bahan AR inilah. Alright, seterusnya penggunaan AR juga boleh meningkatkan kreativiti pelajar. How you can ensure that the use of AR can help to promote your students' creativity. For example, you can actually give them task and then give them opportunity to create their own AR materials. Then you will see that students will be able to, demonstrate their creativity. Sometimes we never underestimate your students. For example, macam dalam kes ini, kami memberikan anda tugasan untuk menghasilkan satu bahan AR, dan di sinilah kami cuba untuk instill ataupun inculcate kemahiran anda untuk menunjukkan kreativiti, kemahiran anda untuk berkolaborasi bersama dengan rakan-rakan, kemahiran anda juga untuk memilih bahan-bahan yang sesuai lah, ataupun kata arrange the information in a more sensible way so that your learners will be able to gradually develop their own understandings lah based on bahan yang telah anda ataupun yang akan anda bangunkan. Okay, so ini adalah contoh ini adalah you punya seniors lah. Contoh di mana mereka sangat teruja lah apabila pertama kali saya perkenalkan kad AR ini. Mereka scan dan mereka daripada kad itu mereka akhirnya dapat tajuk bahan apa yang mereka nak bangunkan. So ini juga adalah pembentangan di mana rakan-rakan pelajar membentangkan perancangan mereka tentang kata pecahan sub-sub topik yang akan mereka hasilkan. Contohnya di dalam grup ini mereka nak menghasilkan bahan bertajuk animals dan mereka pecahkanlah kepada vertebrata, invertebrata dan sebagainya lah, ataupun ada juga yang pecahkan kepada reptiles, mammals dan sebagainya. So it depends on how or what topic that you want to create, but you have to melibatkan dirilah, ataupun you will have to experience doing things in phases. Lepas ni saya akan tunjukkan ataupun saya akan explain lah apa ni fasa-fasa yang you all akan lalui apabila you nak membangunkan bahan secara AR ini. So ini juga contoh macam mana pelajar-pelajar kata display ataupun demonstrate bahan-bahan mereka di dalam kelas. Ini bahan contohnya adalah kad-kad AR yang mana setiap satu kad ini mengandungi video apabila kita scan dia. Right? Ini juga adalah pembentangan antara early groups yang saya laksanakan penggunaan AR. Mereka tampar di dinding sebab pada ketika itu mereka masih saya belum memberikan tugasan untuk menghasilkan bahan secara learning kit lah, tetapi lebih kepada exploration on how you can actually turn videos into AR materials. Yes, so this is some of the examples of their kata presentations lah dalam kelas. So ini adalah satu grup pelajar-pelajar pendidikan khas di bawah tutorial saya, di mana saya bawa mereka untuk memasuki pertandingan Hari Inovasi dan mereka memenangi pingat emas. Jadi 5 pelajar ini sedang menerangkanlah bahan AR yang telah mereka bangunkan kepada juri pada ketika itu. Okay, this is actually examples on how my student use AR in special education. Okay, these are special education students. They are scanning and using the AR materials and try to get the videos, and then this is my student who was at that time doing his practicum lah dekat one of the schools. Dan ini contoh bahan yang dibangunkan oleh the other student. Dalam untuk bahasa Melayu, dia buat card, dia designkan card ini rangkai kata, but when the student scan on the card and then a video will appear lah yang menerangkan tentang apa dia rangkai kata yang berkenaan, right? So you have to think about how you can, design your own materials in group, and then make it as interesting as possible, right? So now sekarang kelas, apa dia sebenarnya apps yang boleh kita bangunkan bahan AR, ya? So these are examples of the applications that you may want to try out, that you may want to explore. For example, we have Laya here. We also have Euphoria, Wikitude, AR Toolkit, Metaverse, Blipa, Augmented, as well as HP Reveal. But mind you, HP Reveal is no longer available lah untuk pembangunan bahan AR menggunakan studio ataupun web base, hanya boleh menggunakan mobile phone saja. So I don't recommend, or we don't recommend you to use this anymore. You may want to use a Metaverse instead, or perhaps Blipa. So Metaverse and Blipa is actually examples of apps yang sangat mudah untuk kita gunakan lah untuk membangunkan bahan-bahan AR. So, what do you need, class, in order for you to develop AR material? Yeah, do you think it is hard? It is difficult? Do you think it is that complicated to come up with the AR material? Right. So basically, AR ni sangat simple. It's very straightforward. In order for you to come up with one AR material, you only need to have two things. These two things. Pertama, you need to have a trigger image. Maksudnya, you need to think about what can be the best image that you can use sebagai card lah. Card yang trigger yang mana pengguna akan scan pada kad tersebut, ya. So make sure that the image and then the content ataupun tajuk yang berada pada kad tersebut reflects kepada maklumat ataupun bahan di dalam video yang akan dipaparkan apabila pengguna anda create pada kad tersebut. Okay, so you can create this card. You can use canvas, you can use Genially, you can use Pictochart, or even you can use as simple as a PowerPoint for untuk menghasilkan bahan trigger image ini. And the other thing is that apart from a photo or image, you also have to have a video, which is in MP4 punya format lah. So this video will become an overlay video. Nama dia overlay video because it will be overlaid, dia akan ditindankan. So see this figure di mana apabila kita menggabungkan trigger image dan kita masukkan overlay video, so you can see that the overlay video is located on top of the trigger image. So gabungan antara trigger image dan juga video ini akan menjadi satu bahan AR. Okay, so saya nak sentuh sedikit tentang assignment berkenaan dengan augmented reality. I think for other assignments, Dr. Hazrati as the coordinator will explain further for you. But for AR assignment, it will be your group assignment. It is not individual. So you will have to work in 3 or 4 in a group. And then you need to discuss with your group members. Think about one subject that you want to select. For example, English, typo ya, English, mathematics or science, or perhaps other subjects lah yang you think sesuai sesuai dengan bidang ataupun sesuai dengan pilihan semua ahli. Then, and of course, di dalam group, you have to develop an AR learning kit or material. So these are the steps in making AR. And of course, the first thing is you have to identify apa dia topik. You need to select a specific topic from the subject that you had decided on. For example, if you're talking about mathematics form 2, for example. Okay, daripada syllabus untuk matematik tingkatan 2, find out one specific topic. Pilih satu topik sahaja. And then, once you have done with that, once you have, mutually agreed with your friends, then this is the topic that we need or that we will work on for our AR project, then the next step is you have to identify the objectives. Yeah, tentukan apa dia sebenarnya objektif yang saudari nak supaya pengguna capai setelah mereka menggunakan bahan tersebut. Okay, so make sure you're able to identify the objectives that you want your AR users to achieve after they use your material, right? So this should be discussed in a group lah, yeah. So make sure you consider your friends' suggestions, yeah, and then work in a harmonious punya situation. And the next one, setelah you identify apa the objective, make sure you arrange the topic into subtopics. Which means anda perlu memecahkan kepada beberapa topik lah. Ya, mungkin 10 topik, bergantunglah kepada cakupan topik yang telah kamu pilih itu. And then based on subtopics, katalah dah dipecahkan kepada topik 1, subtopik 1, subtopik 2 dan seterusnya. You need to plan the video or animation yang kamu semua akan bangunkan untuk deliver content bagi setiap subtopik itu. So make sure class kata the duration of the video will not be too long. Maybe 1 minute is actually enough. Yeah. Maybe or perhaps 1.5 minutes. Yeah. Jangan terlalu panjang lah. Yeah. You can put then into smaller chunks of information. And of course, based on the topic, you plan and then you develop the video. And of course, you also have to design the trigger image. Remember tadi, in order for you to come up with AR material, you have to have 2 things, right? Trigger image and the other one is video. So now you have created the video and then think about how can you design the trigger images, or perhaps in the form of booklets. Mungkin ada yang nak buat cut-cut yang secara orang kata terpisah-pisah, skipping, or maybe you want to come up with a booklet where your users will, flip through and then they scan lah from one page to another in order for them to, get the information from the video that has been overlaid on top of the image. Kemudian after that you have to upload lah trigger image and then the videos in the apps, or you may want to explore Blippa or Metaverse or etc. So in this case, we do not want to, impose that this is the apps that you have to use. It is all actually up to you. If you think that Blippa is the best, then just go ahead with Blippa. If you think that you want to try out other apps, for example Metaverse, or maybe some of you want to try Vuforia, just go ahead. We do not want to menyekat kreativiti kamu semua. Jadi kami tidak menentukan, tetapi yang kita mungkin boleh recommend adalah penggunaan Blippa dan juga Metaverse. And then macam mana you nak guna Blippa, macam mana you nak guna Metaverse, I think you have to learn on your own. And I also have another tutorial, video tutorial yang telah saya muat naik di dalam YouTube channel saya tentang how you can use Blippa lah untuk membangunkan AR. So I think I will also embed the video in UKM Folio as well for your reference. Okay, setelah you dah buat semua ni, telah bangunkan dan sebagainya, you also have to think about a test question ataupun assessment yang mana after your learners or your users use your AR material, they will be able to test themselves by using your assessment. Okay, contohnya how you can disseminate, or how you can give the assessment to the students. Maybe one of the ideas is actually you can create questions using Google Form, and then you can provide the link to your Google Form, or you can also generate QR code and then put the code dekat bahan AR itu. Jadi you don't have to have any sheets ataupun lembaran yang you nak bagi kepada pelajar lah. Jadi let them just scan it and then they will be able to get an access to the assessment that you have created, right? And then in order for you to present your bahan, your AR bahan, you have to print it out. And then, of course, we want you to make it nicely and systematically organized lah. Yeah. So we assume that you will print it using a color printer. Ada setengah-setengah kumpulan yang mengambil inisiatif untuk print di kedai dan sebagainya. So it all depends on you. And then don't forget to put your name and your student number, semua member lah, all the team members on the cover of your AR material. So yeah, so I think that's all from me about augmented reality. So I wish you happy ARing, and then see you when I see you. Okay, bye class. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.